well, is what I'll say. It wasn't good, but it wasn't terrible either. Oddly, it was a weird blend of the two. I am, of course, talking about the Plymouth game, of course. That's why you've clicked on this video. Welcome. Nothing says go out and try and get the win against what is probably one of the worst teams in the league. Well, what is one of the worst teams in the league? Possibly the worst team in the league. With 10 minutes to go, than subbing on a centre-back for Abdush does it. And we'll talk about Abdush in detail because I love him. And when he's on the ball, he's so good. But come on. His end product needs so much work. It needs so much work. And there's a chance he had in the first half, which he should have buried. And, well, someone said to me at the time when I said, look, what's Abdush like? They said, on the ball, he's like Messi, but he just can't finish. We're starting to see that now. But I think once he gets one in competitive settings from open play, he'll go and get another and another and another and another. But the fact he hasn't got one yet, when you consider the sort of player he is and how good he's been, is really quite alarming. Give us a second. I'm just going to answer this call. Anyway, moving on. So, LEWIE COYLE, man of the match, by far. What he was incredible. And we'll talk about that goal now. Just marauding forward from right back, having the freedom of the pitch, laying it off to Liam Miller, and then just doing it, and then getting it back with your weak foot, getting that bend on it to just send it right across the face of the keeper, and then bounce it in off the post. LEWIE COYLE, take a bow. Take a bow. That was phenomenal. And he was just so nonchalant about it. He just sort of ran straight back to right back thinking, right, let's win this. And then the gaffer with 10 minutes to go subs on a centre-back. Yeah. As for Plymouth's goal, initially when I first saw it replayed, I thought, near post at that height, Panda's got to do a lot better. But I've watched it again, and Jesus Christ, the defending for that, honestly, it's jail time worthy, the defending for that. How there was, I think, Simons, Coyle, Jones and McLaughlin all around Sissoko. And he was still allowed to get his body position onto the half turn and hit a pot shot right through the middle of them. And because there's so many around him, Panda's unsighted. So I take back what I said before. It's shocking. Shocking defending that he's allowed to do that. McLaughlin had a terrible game. And I can see Charlie Hughes coming in for Millwall. I really can. I also think Alfie Jones is still a good player, but he's not quite as good as he looked under, well, whether it's just he's not adapted to Valter's system as quickly as he adapted to Racinia's and impressed, or whether it's because he's gone from Jacob Greaves, who smashed it on his Premier League debut today, irrespective of the result. Jacob Greaves was Ipswich's man of the match. He was fantastic. And Ipswich fans, if you're watching, we told you it was a bargain. Between 15 and 18 million, we told you it was a bargain, didn't we? Greaves is smashing it in the Premier League, looking right at home. And Ipswich, I think they'll be alright this season. But I tell you what, if they go down, if Jacob Greaves continues to put in performances like that, even if they go down, he won't be back in the Championship. Not at all. He will easily get a move a little bit higher up the Premier League if they go down. But I don't see Ipswich going down at all. I just don't see it. Anyway, yeah, Maka had a shocker. Giles at left back against Sheffield Wednesday and today looks so much more comfortable. Liam Miller, there's a player in there, but he's just so predictable. Every single time he's on that left flank, the opposition know, right, Joe Edwards at right back knew, I'm just going to show him wide. I'm just going to show him wide and he won't be able to do anything because the moment he cuts inside, I'll just be there to block it straight away. And there was a point when Will Jarvis got brought on that Walter switched Miller over to the right. And all of a sudden there I thought, all right, not seen him on the right before. What's he gonna do? What's he gonna be like? And then he got quickly swapped back to the left. So yeah, and I think, well, look, midfield. It's criminal that Slater stayed on the pitch for an hour as well. He had a stinker. He was not in the game at all. And was that because he was pushed out to the right, so Abdush was central? Perhaps. But Slater had a stinker. Xavi's looked all right at times under Walter. Today wasn't one of those days that people still praising him. I'm not sure what he exactly did today. Malem wasn't really in the game either. He had one chance where he just spurned it over. He should have done a hell of a lot better with it. And, well, Oscar. With Oscar, you've got to feed him. But he just gave us nothing. Nothing all game. And I like Oscar, I really do. But he just gave us nothing. Absolutely nothing. And when Bairstow got subbed on, I thought, he didn't really get the ball either, to be fair. But I just thought when he was pressing, and he was pressing with more intensity, and he's quicker than Oscar, and I thought, okay. So, I'm not quite sure where Walter will take his team selection. We've just been linked with two central midfielders, both from on the continent, this evening. One of those Walter worked with at Holstein Kiel and Fenerbahce. That's Jonas Meffer from Hamburg. Did I just say Fenerbahce? No. Jonas Meffer, Holstein Kiel and Hamburg. And then the other one is a loan move for Bayer Leverkusen Colombian midfielder, 21 years old, Gustavo Puerta, with an option to make it permanent in a year's time. I mean, I don't know anything about either of them, but the profile of Meffer is like, it's big. He's a tall, imposing holding midfielder who knows Walter's system, and I think that'd work. It'd make us better in the midfield because he'd be able to just pick the ball up, spray a pass, and then run the 20, 30 yards to make up. And this is a game. Today was a game I thought that needed Seri just for his composure. Because against Sheffield Wednesday when he came on in the second half, we moved the ball out so well, but linking now with two central midfielders from on the continent, plus there's still the Premier League loanees to come in. Like I expect us to get that James McConnell from Liverpool. I mentioned that in the preview, and what have you. So to me, Meffer and Puerta potentially coming in, that tells me Seri's off. Adrian telling me he wanted two defensive midfielders at the Q&A told me that Seri was off, and not really answering the question about whether Seri would leave or not put that further in my mind. We've got about 10 days, there or thereabouts, to get this squad sorted. When you consider on game day against Millwall, very little will happen. Yeah, so I'd expect, well, pretty much everything to happen on deadline day because that's the way we do it. I think we'll get another at least 2 wingers. We'll get another striker that the club are working on. I just said he was talking to a young striker. So unless that was Mason Bairstow, maybe that he called him the next Delap actually. So we're still working on another striker, a permanent addition. That's 3. I saw us linked with Alfie Devine as well. Plus then there's the links for Casey McAteer as a winger. So expect, well, let's say for argument's sake these 2 central midfielders come in. Another striker, another 2 wingers. That's still another 5 signings to go, which will take us up to this summer. Once it loads, was Zambrano number 9? Giles, Drama, Malem, Rachopi, Burns, Miller, Hughes, Bairstow, Zambrano. Another 4 or 5, yeah, that takes us to 13, 14 new signings. It's another massive squad overhaul, isn't it? And we've got the squad number space to do it. 9, 12, 13, 20, 22, 30, 33. I expected Bairstow to take 20, to be honest. But he's coming and taken, 48. So, yeah, it's today was an awkward game, and we need to be a hell of a lot better than that, because we just need, once we've got the players to be better in attack, we will be. But yeah, I mean, you saw today with Coyle letting that marauding run, but I noticed a lot of the time Coyle was inverted, and like for the crosses that Valter wants or whatever, he needs to be overlapping a bit more for me. But equally, we've got to have someone to put the ball in the back of the net when those crosses come in. And Oscar, we see him as a target man and what have you, but we were saying this on the podcast last week. Although we see him as a target man, he's 6 foot, he's shorter than me. And you put him up against most centre-backs who are going to be bigger than him. It's rare that he'll win those headers. He's good when he comes back into our box to defend corners, but don't know, I think I'd have to see Bairstow in the flesh to gauge whether he's a better target player than Oscar is. I don't know. And where does it leave Oscar when this third striker comes in? Because if it's someone like Jay Stansfield, which I'm still holding out hope for, then, well, he's going to start. And then Bairstow have just signed on this really long contract. And Oscar's only got a year left. And just let me check. Is that Oscar one with or without an option? This has descended from into the game rambling into like transfer rambling, I realise. Oscar's contract. I know Seri doesn't have an option. I'm not sure whether Oscar does as well. Oscar doesn't have an option. Okay. Watch this space, I suppose. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you if we sign those 2 central midfielders this week. Let's see. Let's hope. We're loving these South Americans at the minute, aren't we? We've got Oscar back, Colombian. Puerta's Colombian. Zambrano, who we've just signed, Ecuadorian. Where's Uriel Theli? But yeah, see you later, everyone. Take care. Goodbye.